here's a look at the numbers that Kvara has put up in just a half a season since he made that $72 million move. He has 6 goals and 5 assists in just 24 appearances and now has a chance to add yet another trophy to his cabinet. But boys, I want to go back to that big move for him and really announcing himself to the world at Napoli, the role that he played in winning that Scudetto. I mean, when you remember that season for Napoli, such a special one, and the role that Kvara played, Lahoud, what comes to mind?
The magic in his boots, right? So many people remember the goals of Victor Osimhen, remember Lobotka, remember Di Lorenzo. I remember Khvicha Kvaratskhelia. There's a goal, and I forgot who it was against, but it reminded me of watching a moment in time, of watching like a player that had the aura of Diego Maradona. And I know that's big shoes to fill. I know that's a big, big word, but we hadn't seen a player like this at Napoli make players miss. And the goal I'm talking about, he made 4 or 5 players miss before punching the ball in the back of the net. I mean, this guy, they called him Kvaradona, and he was just a special player providing world-class moments, and it really encapsulated the magic of that season. I still stand by it. This is a guy that is a match winner, and we're grateful to see him in the UEFA Champions League this weekend. He's that good.
Okay, Kvaradona, McTominay, do we need to relax with some of these comparisons?
The aura of Maradona is
in that moment.
Listen, if I think you're saying that because he played for Naples, and the Maradona aura of Maradona is a lot. He's very good, but
I appreciate the positivity and love that's coming. Can you stand up for the audience so they can see you wearing your Kvara PJs right now?
Yeah,
you are actually super fan.
I'm not wearing any PJs.
Okay,
I gotta
actually, I get a good look.
I gotta say right here. So
we're keeping it PG. I assure you. On the show, we're all dressed.
I mean, Kvara was extraordinary. Kvara, I don't think Naples ever saw it coming. I would love to meet the guy who was watching Rubin Kazan games or Dinamo Tbilisi games and saying, "That's our guy. This guy's going to be the next best thing. This guy is going to bring the Scudetto back to Naples since Maradona won it." And I guess the Maradona aura is you took it in that way, but let's hit the pump the brakes a little bit on the Maradona.
I'll give you a different comparison.
Let's hear it.
So one of the players that I respect a ton when I was coming through the ranks, Philipp Lahm, played for Germany and Bayern Munich, well-respected defender. He came out and said that he's a massive Kvara fan, and he reminds him of Franck Ribéry. And what Ribéry did very well is that he had a ton of energy on both sides of the ball, could break you down. And the one distinguishing factor about Kvara that he really loved is that when he gets going on one of his remarkable runs, that's one of his quotes, he still has something at the end of that run, right? He still has energy to make that final cut or to make you dips a shoulder one way and creates enough space to get a shot or make the final pass, which we've seen him do in the Champions League throughout. And so that's another comparison that I thought was pretty apt from a player that we all respect.
I like that a little bit more. The way that he's able to take you on, dribble, unsettle defenses, keep the ball so tight to his feet, and you don't know what he's going to do. He shows it to you, shows it to you, shows it to you, and right when you bite, he gets past you with a little move. He's so crafty in tight spaces. He has something completely different, and obviously that combined with Osimhen in that first season at Naples was such a difference maker that they ran away with the Scudetto.
Yeah, no, look, for all the goals and the highlight reel moments he had, I think his decision-making in the final third, for a wide player that's a naturally gifted winger, I think that was something that caught my eye the most. Is he had the right answer for every single team that Napoli played against, and we're seeing that reincarnated again at PSG. This is a guy that, I think what you're talking about is work rate. His work rate on both sides of the ball, especially defensively, that is the thing that he carried in that first season, and his ability to lead the counterattack, man. This is a guy that has the potential to be someone we're talking about for years to come, and we're talking about him right now for good reason.
Yeah, and it's also, guys, a move that wasn't exactly received with just complete optimism across the board, mostly because a lot of people thought, does PSG really need Khvicha Kvaratskhelia? Is this the way we want to be spending this kind of money? I mean, now that you reflect on this kind of half of a season that Kvara has had, Jimmy, How much does the perception of this move change now, especially when you look at what this team can build going into the future?
Well, it looks great because they're in the Champions League final.
Well, of course.
And they won every trophy imaginable in France, which that's not as big of a surprise. But for them to get to the Champions League final, their second ever appearance, is a big deal. And he's a reason why. Obviously had a great assist to Ousmane Dembélé in the first leg against Arsenal. And for all the reasons that we're talking about. Found himself in a good spot, very dynamic in the attacking third, found the open player, and they get a good goal. I think what's interesting is that when he came into the team, he allowed Ousmane Dembélé to play centrally. Luis Enrique, the manager of PSG, could now tinker with that front three in a way that maybe he hadn't before. Ousmane Dembélé, prior to that, had been playing more on the wing, right? And Gonzalo Ramos would be up top, a more traditional number 9. All of a sudden, they put Dembélé up top, and he explodes. He has 8 goals. After Kvara shows up, 8 goals in the Champions League.
Wow.
He hadn't had any goals prior to that. He scored 11 in the league. He'd already had 10 prior to that. So maybe that didn't make as much of a difference there. But it allowed them to be more dynamic. And so if you're a defender and you're looking at this team, who are you going to slow down and how? Where are you going to send that extra player? Are you going to go out wide to try to double up Kvara there? Are you going to sit that extra player centrally against Dembélé, Barcola, or Doué? It just makes them so much more dynamic and more unpredictable offensively that makes it very hard for other teams to defend.
I think you need to give Luis Enrique a lot of credit too, like you alluded to, Jimmy, because sure, you say $70 million bringing Kvaratskhelia. Of course, it'll work on FIFA. It works because you grab a player, you plug him in, and you play like right. That's the logic behind it. But from a human perspective, there's an adaptability component, and he fit in seamlessly. He did make it look like a video game, as easy as that, right? Obviously, there was an odd man out, and it was Bradley Barcola here, but there was a reshuffling. They got rid of Asensio. Kang-in Lee is not as important anymore to the makeup of this attack. And Doué, as well, started having a little bit more protagonism. And Barcola, when he came in, he was more of a role player as a super sub this time. And to me, Kvara has become almost like a focal point in this attack. It's him and Dembélé, obviously. I think Dembélé has proven this season that, or at least this 2025, that he's at that level, that he can win you a Champions League final. But Kvara walked into this team and Luis Enrique allowed him to say, take the reins. Like, do your thing. We brought you for you to put the team on this back at many times.
Yeah, look, one aspect of things, and you got the Luis in right, but it's Luis Campos that deserves the most credit. Luis Enrique for what the tactics are, but we're seeing a change in the transfer philosophy and the transfer approach from PSG. Because of this transfer, because of the likes of Desiree Doué and the young players, but you're getting a player that's no longer just one of the pseudo-galacticos of world football. This is a guy that fits the philosophy of the manager, and his ability to, yes, go 1v1, yes, unbalance you. I want to go back to the Aston Villa matches. I want to go back to Arsenal when I was doing a breakdown on how they put Bukayo Saka in their back pocket. This is a guy that's a winger that, like the rest of his teammates, is working his backside off, coming back, tracking back, helping the likes of Nuno Mendes, and has the quality to get forward and still produce moments of magic. Liverpool couldn't live with them. Aston Villa couldn't live with them. Arsenal couldn't live with them. And if Inter don't show up, Inter may not be able to live with him. A player who has succeeded against Inter before. I mean, he could be the difference maker in the final.
6 career games against Inter, no goals, no assists, only 1 win out of those 6. So yes, he's had success, but nothing tangible that we can look at.
A chance on Saturday for Kvara to change that narrative. And just imagine if he plays a massive role, how much better this move will look